You're listening to the Arrowfans UK episode review podcast. During this podcast, we're going to be talking about episode 18, Deathstroke, as well as the issue of secrets in Starling City. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter, or email to give your thoughts. For now, sit back and enjoy the podcast. Hello, welcome back to the Arrowfans UK episode review podcast. I'm Bradley, and I'm joined, as usual, by Corey. Hello, Corey.
Hi, everyone.
Now, you might have noticed the different beginning to the podcast, and that's because we're trying new things out so we can try and improve the podcast. If you do have any suggestions, please try and let us know, and we can try to implement them. It's all part of our effort to try and improve the podcast, make it easier and more interesting for you guys to listen to. One change we're making, one significant change, is that we will be talking mainly about one specific question or a topic from an episode, instead of reviewing it, which will be handled in our written review on the site. This means we can get more of an opinion on different subjects across two different mediums. So without further ado, we'll go right into it. We are talking about episode 18, which was called Deathstroke. Corey, just to start off, what were your initial thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I thought the only thing really missing from it for me was a fight between Slade and Oliver in the present day. I thought it had a good pace throughout it, a good intensity, one of those big endings that Arrow so often leaves us hanging with. And yeah, I've only really got good things to say about the episode. It was a good watch.
Yeah, it was quite good. As you mentioned, it was a little bit anticlimactic that we didn't have a Slade v Oliver showdown in either the present day or the flashbacks, to be fair. I had expected that we'd get one in both for this episode, but it was not to be. We did sort of, I suppose, have one between the two, but it wasn't a physical one, as we had been expecting, and
yeah, that's true.
There would have been a lot more action that way. But it was a good episode. I did enjoy the twist at the end, although that does mean that we're going to have a lot more Laurel in upcoming weeks, which of course we're not big fans of.
No, if you've listened to us before, you might get an occasional hint that we're not Laurel fans. I mean, we do our best to hide it.
Yes, we do. We do. We're never verbal about it. It's just the implied bits. But yeah, there were some very good parts of the episode. We had Thea, obviously learning the truth of Malcolm, which wasn't really that big a shock. We knew before the episode that she was going to learn a secret, and obviously when Slade pointed out that Oliver had a secret, it seemed a little far-fetched that he was going to tell her that he's the Arrow.
Yeah.
What I would like to know is how Slade found out.
That's a good point, actually. I don't know, I guess he seems quite a resourceful man nowadays, so I'm sure he's maybe got some ways of getting to know it.
Yeah, I do hope they explain that at some point, because at this point we know that he's resourceful, but it seems to be going way over the top. He is too resourceful.
Yeah, he's like unstoppable in every sense of the word, I guess you could say.
Yes, fair enough, he is very difficult to stop physically, but if he's got all these unlimited resources, supposedly, how is Team Arrow meant to stop him in that way?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I'm guessing we'll get some sort of answer before the end of the season, but yeah.
Yes. The twist with Isabel was to be expected, really.
Yeah, I think from the promo, we could kind of guess it looked like Isabel and Oliver fighting, and I think we've always had some sort of doubts over her anyway, so.
Yes, her with the lack of a facial expression.
Yeah, she was hiding all kinds of evil under there.
Yes, there's not very much you can say about a character like that.
No.
But I think this entire episode really turned everything around in terms of the way the story was going. Obviously Oliver was on his crusade to stop Slade anyway, but now Slade's made a move against him. So, now, as Oliver said, they're going to take the fight to him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, Slade's making a move. Obviously, Thea's said he was the one going after her, so everyone's looking for Slade. It's just about putting his plan into action now.
Yes. And obviously, Slade being sort of a wanted fugitive makes it a little bit more difficult for him to operate. But I'm sure he'll survive.
Yeah, I've got a slight hunch he might.
Yes. So, overall, it was a good episode. And it really set things up well for the last 5 that we've got.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
Yes, okay. Okay, so we're going to move on and talk about the topic of the episode, which would be the secrets in Starling City and how easily, in fact, they are revealed. Now, obviously for this discussion, we're going to have to sort of ignore the fact that this is a TV show, and if these kind of secrets didn't exist in the show or didn't get released for more people to know about, the show would be nowhere near as interesting.
Very true.
This kind of ridiculousness of some psycho killer who tried to destroy a city and killed 500 odd people is the father of a girl who then gets kidnapped by another psycho from an island and from Australia with one eye, who's jacked up on some miracle drug that makes him super strong and unkillable. Obviously, this is not reality.
No, it falls a little way short.
So obviously we need to take that into consideration, but there are a lot of secrets in Starling City, and a lot of them get revealed.
Yes, it's basically the moral of the story here should be: don't do anything bad, and don't have any bad secrets, and you'll get along fine in Starling City, essentially.
Yes, you will. I'm sure someone will find some sort of secret eventually. Yeah. But, yes. First of all, we need to look at why there are so many secrets. Now, obviously, Moira has said before, and Oliver, I think, said it in this episode, that keeping Thea's paternity away from her and from Oliver and from the world is to protect her. So we can look at that first in the fact that obviously keeping all these secrets helps protect people.
Yep, that's one way to think about it.
Obviously Oliver's secret is keeping it for himself. He's keeping it to prevent himself from being arrested.
Yep.
Because it does make him a criminal. But I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think it's like, I'm pretty sure the producers or someone have spoken about it before, about the villains always thinking that they're the good guy or something. You know, they don't actually think what they're doing is bad. And I think you can almost apply that to the secrets in the show. Whoever's keeping the secret, they're kind of doing it because they think that's the best thing to do, if that makes sense. Like, you've got Moira thinking she's protecting her kids. You've got Oliver, obviously. If he comes out with who he is, then he's going to get arrested, and he also feels if people don't know who he is and people don't get close to him, they won't get hurt.
Yep, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of sort of reasons for the varying secrets. Obviously, it depends on which one. My next question, how do people, obviously Oliver's secret is kind of obvious to Slade, but something like Malcolm, how does he know? He obviously has the resources, but how does he know if only Moira, Oliver, and Walter and the doctor guy know, and Felicity? But obviously you look at it and say that 4 people out of that 5 aren't going to tell him.
Yeah, that's true.
You would think that the doctor wouldn't tell him, perhaps. I mean, Moira did say that she paid him a lot of money, I believe.
Yeah, that was how Felicity found out, wasn't it? She tried to
Yes.
find. Yeah. Right.
I mean, it is plausible that he could have done that, as Felicity did, but, of course, we don't know that.
No. Hang on. I'm just trying to think if Oliver and Moira have talked about it around the house, because obviously, since Slade put up all the cameras, I mean, if he might have overheard or something.
Well, Oliver did say something about Thea in Time of Death, right at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, Slade did say in the episode that all the senses got heightened, so maybe he heard it.
That's true.
But I don't think that he has mentioned it to her since. I could be wrong about that.
I really don't know off the top of my head anyway. So.
I don't think so. Yes. I mean, we obviously have a lot of secrets in Starling City. How many more do you think there are that we don't know?
I'm pretty sure that there might be something with Felicity's parents to come out at some point. That's just a hunch, really. So that could be one. Well, if I'm honest, I'd guess that there's probably quite a few secrets we still don't know, really.
Yeah, Starling City is well known at the moment for its secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd agree there. Definitely something about Felicity's parents that we don't know. The writers and the producers have said that we're going to learn more about the parents in season 3. And you've got to take that as to look at it as something bigger than just 2 random people, because if they had no sort of impact on anything in the story, they'd just come out and tell us now.
Yeah, very true.
So they obviously have some sort of impact on the story somehow, and we'll find it out in due course. Do you think that, how long do you think it takes the writers to kind of think we're going to have this secret? Do you think, like, from the original introduction of Malcolm, they had the idea that Thea was going to be his daughter, or do you think they could sort of dreamt it up along the way?
I think they've probably... I'm not so sure with that one, but I think they've perhaps got... Like they say, they always say they've got a plan, and I'm pretty sure they've got certain secrets to be revealed, planned out across the way, for example. But it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of come up with something and think, hang on a minute, this could really work here. Yeah, I mean, it depends what they've got planned for Thea at the end of season 1, I guess. Because clearly I would have thought they knew Malcolm wasn't dead. They knew that much. Well, actually, discussing it wouldn't surprise me if they did have that planned out, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely with Thea, they would have had that planned out, because otherwise there is no sort of reason to bring back Malcolm.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're just going to bring him back for the sake of having him as another villain again at some point, which would be totally stupid.
Yeah, there wouldn't be... you got to bring him back if they got a purpose, really. I think that's why we perhaps got a bit annoyed at the Huntress consistently returning, because it's the same story over and over again. But, that's another debate entirely.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting you bring up the Huntress, actually, because obviously she knows Oliver's secret, and I'm pretty sure she knows Sarah's secret.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
So, why is she sort of holding on to them? Because obviously, the Huntress doesn't exactly like Oliver that much. You know, with him trying to stop her from seeking her revenge.
I guess you could say perhaps he's not been her priority. I mean, he gets in the way, obviously, but killing her father has been like her sole motivation. And I suppose almost she knows she can kind of manipulate Oliver into helping her in some ways. You know, she tried to do it in Huntress Returns, and she kind of tried to go that way again. But perhaps it's like she still feels he can be some sort of ally, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, in the Huntress Returns, she did try to expose him, and his girlfriend, who was the cop, yet another example of Oliver's fantastic logic, didn't believe her, as you would expect. But, I don't know. I mean, holding on to that kind of secret, really, if she was to tell, it could sort of minimise her prison time.
Yeah. I don't know. Perhaps there's just some sort of feeling she's got left for Oliver, perhaps hidden down there. I don't know. I mean, she's obviously very twisted, so yeah. I mean, it's a question of how her mind works, really, and how she's kind of thinking about things, I guess.
Well, that is a very different discussion about her lack of thinking.
True.
But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely sort of things to look at it there. Why she doesn't explain it. But I don't know. I mean, obviously the writers have it planned out that she'll be back at some point. So, I don't know.
I guess it's this one we'll have to wait and see what she does next.
Yes, it is. Okay. So we've talked about secrets in general in Starling City. Now we're going to talk about Oliver's secret. Obviously that he is the Arrow in more detail. Obviously this is something we've been quite vocal about in the past, that a lot of people have been finding out about Oliver's secret, and that if more people continue to find out, it's not really a secret.
Yeah, if everybody's going to find out well, not necessarily everybody, but if more and more people keep finding out who he is, then there's no point of keeping it a secret, because, well, like you say, it's not a secret anymore.
The main problem is that it's key players finding out. So you've got Tommy, you've got Laurel. It's all the main characters, all the ones that we know that have an impact. It's not the thousands of people that live in Starling City that are finding out. So if you were to compare it to that, there's actually a very small percentage of people that do know. But you've got to look at it in terms of who we know and who is in Oliver's life.
Yeah, because only Moira and Thea who don't know, because I think we both feel that Lance...
And Quentin.
Well, he should know.
Yeah.
He definitely should know.
He should.
He'll never get his detective's rank back if he doesn't know. It'd just be wrong.
No, he won't. That would be very wrong. But yeah, there's a lot of people close to Oliver that do know. And I think obviously there's not much room to expand that because there are so few people that don't.
Yeah.
But obviously, if they do expand that list, the whole point of the secret it loses its secret.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Obviously, Laurel now knows. And obviously last year we had Tommy finding out around about this time, and he ended up dead in the finale. Yeah. So we're still sort of holding out hope that she goes that way, because as you all know, we're not big fans of Laurel.
No.
But I don't think they will go down that route.
No, I'd be surprised.
So would I. It'd be less surprising if they killed Sarah. Which they probably will.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yes.
But obviously, characters knowing Oliver's secret has an impact. You have Felicity and Diggle and Roy, who all joined with Team Arrow. We have Laurel, who is not... Obviously, we don't know how she's going to react yet. Tommy reacted in a very negative way. He really wasn't very happy with Oliver. Who else has found out?
Well, obviously, I guess we've got the Team Arrow guys, like you said, Tommy, Laurel. I guess Malcolm knows, which didn't really make much of a difference to him, I guess, because he was still going to kill Oliver at the end. He was quite up for doing that. Slade,
yeah,
but obviously Slade's a bit obvious. He grew with him, so.
There was nothing specific about Oliver being the Arrow that made Malcolm want to kill the Arrow. He just wanted to kill the Arrow because the Arrow can stop plans.
Yeah.
Or would have the greatest chance of doing so. Slade obviously wants to seek revenge on Oliver. But that's more a case of Oliver than him being the Arrow.
Yep. I suppose Barry knows as well. And I guess that's some sort of inspiration for him to become the Flash, as got that pilot coming.
Yep. Obviously as well, he he wants to find the person responsible for killing his mother. Obviously, those of you from the comics will know that kind of thing. But as you say, there's a lot. See, beyond like Oliver's inner circle of Team Arrow, there hasn't been that much of an impact of people that are still alive as yet.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Tommy we saw. The people who knew the Raw Flush Gang man, I can't remember his name, he found out and it had no real impact on him because he died. So I think more we've got to look at not the impact of it, but how easily Oliver gives it away.
I suppose also that Amanda Waller knows as well.
But she knows from before the series started.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we are yet to find out how she knows, of course. So I mean, it's definitely a case of why does Oliver give it away so easily?
Yeah, that is true. I think we've criticised his logic a little bit throughout this season, so I don't know, flawed logic on his part.
Yeah, I mean, he just gave it away to Roy because he needed him to think about fear.
I think he admitted he didn't really think about that one either. The consequence.
Yeah, he admitted that. Obviously, Barry found out through Felicity, who thought it was a good idea to tell Barry to save Oliver's life. Tommy found out from Oliver trying to save Malcolm's life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at it in terms of when Oliver's done it, it's been sort of a mixed barrel between kind of in the moment, possibly for good, possibly for bad, to try and help people.
Yeah, and I suppose to be fair to him, like, it's not always him that gives it away, I guess. Like you say, when he has given it away, it has been to, I suppose, with good intentions, you'd say. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like we said earlier about secrets, keeping secrets because it's in the best intentions, and I guess perhaps Oliver sees his secret as that. He only reveals it if, the I guess the benefits of revealing it outweigh the potential cons of keeping it a secret still.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. What I would like to see is one time Oliver's trying to reveals it in good intentions and it backfires, because so far the people who have found out are people that die straight away. For example, the Royal Flush Gang member. You had Tommy, who is Oliver's best friend, who's not going to reveal it anyway, even if he sort of doesn't like him because he's the Arrow and he's a killer.
Yeah.
Roy, who joined Team Arrow. Felicity Diggle joined Team Arrow. Obviously we get to see how Laurel reacts. But I would really enjoy it if it worked, so it backfired on him. Because I know he's trying to do, what he sees best to try and help whoever it is he tells. But actually, he's not helping himself.
No.
And I think he's kind of resigned to that fact that he's not helping himself, that if perhaps he was to get caught, then he's helped people for 1.5 years, 2 years, Certainly now, he might go back on that with Slade around.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know, it's something we can hope for, definitely.
Yeah. Like you say, it could be interesting to see unfold.
Yeah. Obviously, in the next episode, looking ahead to that a little bit, we've got Laurel. She's going to react. How do you think she is going to react?
I mean, judging by the promo, it looks like she's not just accepting, one-eyed Australian man in her doorway telling her ex-boyfriend's a hooded vigilante. She looks like she's researching it and digging into it. I don't know, I guess I could see some anger on her part. Definitely, because obviously Lance has been locked up for working with the Arrow or whatnot. I guess she'd also maybe see the Tommy thing differently too. I mean, obviously she's kind of moved past that a bit, but it'd be interesting to see if she reflects on that a little bit, understanding that, Oliver did try and save him, obviously, because it's his best friend. It's one that could go either way. I'm expecting a bit of anger on her part, to be honest. I guess it really just depends how she sees the Arrow now, because obviously early in this season she didn't like him very much, but obviously we've explored that. She appeared to sort of get back on reasonably decent terms with him, but they haven't really had the same amount of interactions as they did in season 1. So to sum that all up, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we think that she's going to be researching it, which is logical, and she's not just going to start drinking and being all depressed that one of her close friends and ex-boyfriends is actually a masked vigilante killing people.
Yep, that's true.
So there are positives to take out of it.
I suppose the thing I'm kind of slightly worried about, if she... I don't know actually, because she doesn't actually know... Yeah, she actually just ignore that. I was going to say she might get angry at Sarah again, because obviously she's known, but to be fair, Laurel didn't really seem to pick up that she was with her sister for a fair chunk of episode 17. So.
Mm. Yes. I wonder if she's going to confront him about it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, actually. That's an interesting one to actually ponder about, really, because how does she go about confronting him about that exactly? You know, what's your opening line?
Are you the arrow?
Yeah, straight out of it.
Yeah, no, we probably have a sort of 5-minute discussion of, well, I used to be a drunk, but I've sorted myself out now.
Yeah.
So now you can start caring about me again. Oh, and oh yeah, are you the arrow? Yes. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay. So we'll move on and talk about some odds and ends from the episode. I say it almost every week, and I will say it again this week. The music from Blake Neely in this episode was a special kind of superb. There were 3 different moments using new music that I haven't heard before, which was Isabel's reveal, Oliver going and fighting with Slade's men where Thea was being held, and when Oliver says that they're going to fight back. Yeah. That was some pretty good music. They always do a good job reflecting the tone and just enhancing the action, really, and they did it again.
Yeah, I think Arrow's one of those shows where it's crystal clear proof of just how effective music can be.
Yes, it is. Kinyazev once again had some more fantastic lines.
Yeah.
I mean, I could list them. When he said about Hendrik is tied up, but we are not, which is why his life is less valuable.
Yeah.
What else have we got? When he says about removing the explosive without it going off, he's not quite so certain.
Yeah.
Talking about Sarah being scary.
Yeah.
He is very fantastic.
Yes, he's just like, anytime he speaks, it just seems to be something quite worthy.
Yeah, we need him as a regular on the show.
Yes.
So we can have more of his fantastic one-liners.
Yep, I'd echo that.
What else? I mean, Slade obviously now has an army.
Yeah.
With the prisoners. So that'll be something to look forward to. I believe in the next episode, I think he starts to go somewhere with that.
Yeah, judging by the promo. I mean, we'll come to that in a minute anyway, but yeah.
Yep. Quentin, we talked about him a little bit earlier with The Secret.
Yeah.
He's got to know Oliver's identity. And it's interesting because I think if he was to tell Lieutenant Pike, he wouldn't be under arrest anymore.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But, I mean, obviously we were a bit lost for words as to why Lance would be arrested. Obviously we now know that it was for helping the vigilante.
Yep.
But, definitely be interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, especially like you say, all being well, he does know. Should he know who Oliver is and he's not choosing not to get that up, then it certainly shows what a long way he's come in the space of a season and a bit.
Yes. We learned a little bit more about Sebastian Blood. We had been doubtful as to whether he actually knew Oliver's identity or not. We now know that he doesn't. And he doesn't know why Slade has the obsession with the Queen family.
No. You would thought it would be quite obvious, really, though, by now.
Would you?
Well, I suppose he seems to be doing a bit, kidnap fear, doesn't want the vigilante dead. Well, I suppose actually there's not as many signs as I thought, so ignore me.
No, and it's not really obvious that it's Oliver under the hood, or, why he hates Oliver or anything. It's just more of a fact that he has an obsession with Oliver and the Queen family.
Yeah.
So yes. What else have we got? I'm not quite sure, actually. Oh, we have Roy leaving Starling City.
Yep. His aggression's getting the better of him a little bit now.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite right. Oliver made the wrong decisions, and he shouldn't have listened to him.
No.
But on the same hand, it was a bad idea probably for him to leave, because he could help.
Yep, that is true.
I'm
pretty sure. Well, we know he's going to be back, and we'll see what he's up to next, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's about it, really. Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about next week's episode. It's called The Man Under the Hood. There was some suggestions before that this would be a reference to something. I can't remember what it was, though.
I think there was... The one I saw was a Batman reference or something.
Yes.
The Red Hood or something.
That was it. That it would be one of them. But I don't think it will be.
No.
I'll read the press release. Deathstroke hits Oliver at home. Oliver, Canary, Diggle, and Felicity return to the lair and find Slade waiting for them. An epic battle breaks out, and one member of Team Arrow is sent to the hospital. Thea hits her breaking point, but just as Oliver is about to reach her, Slade intervenes, and Oliver is faced with a choice: his battle with Slade or his family. Meanwhile, Laurel, almost read the actress name then. Laurel struggles with a new secret, which is obviously Oliver's. So it looks like there's a bit of stuff going on there.
Yeah, just a bit. I actually thought the way the Thea bit was worded there was quite interesting, because obviously when I first read that press release, we hadn't seen episode 18 yet, and it made you think that she was still in captivity a bit, but yeah.
Obviously she's not.
No. I guess it's like about to get through to her or something, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the most interesting bit from the press release anyway, so...
Nah, Laurel. Definitely the most interesting bit. But no, I mean, obviously she was annoyed at Oliver for keeping it, because obviously Slade would have told her that it was Oliver's secret rather than Moira's.
Yeah.
Because obviously Oliver is the one that Slade is targeting. So obviously he's going to try and... He's almost going to get through to her. And then Slade's just going to go, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Slade being in the lair is interesting.
Yep. and like you say, should get a good battle there. First sort of Oliver against Slade, the physical stuff, which could be interesting.
Yep. I guarantee you that they'll lose.
Yes, I would share that sentiment.
This is also an episode that is going to see the introduction of 2 characters from The Flash, which I'm sure fans of The Flash spin-off show that's going to be hopefully coming in October in the US. I don't know when it's going to come in over here in the UK. But it does seem that at some point it's going to get there. Obviously, we're going to have them, and I'm just trying to find the name of the characters that are in it because I can't remember.
I think one's Caitlin Snow, and can't quite remember the other one.
Yes, Caitlin Snow was one of them, and the other one is Cisco Ramon. Yes, and from a clip we've seen, we will be going to Central City at some point during the episode, which should be quite fun. But yeah, it's going to be quite interesting.
Yep, definitely. It already looks good, and like you say, this one's led us. Episode 18's led us into this one nicely. So bring it on.
And it's the first of the last 5 episodes of the season, so you can almost assume straight away that it's going to be quite good.
Yes. Yes. You would
so.
So.
Yes. So. Okay, unless you've got anything else to add to anything?
No, just looking forward to next week.
Yes, okay. Well, we hope you've all enjoyed this podcast, and we will see you next week.